Prospera is about to unleash Quiet Zero on the world, and I am pumped!
Bring it on!
Powerful Nerdcast assemble!
Stay dandy, baby. It looks like we're building up to an epic finale in the latest episode of Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury. All of the characters are dealing with the aftermath of the last episode where the school Astakazia was attacked by Noria. A lot of people died, there was a lot of shocking events, and somehow, through all of it, Petra managed to survive. She might be a minor character, but I have to say it was really surprising to see that she made it out of this situation. She pretty much gave a death flag speech, and she was crushed by rubble, but no, she's just sort of hanging out in a back-to tank, and it looks like everything's gonna be all hunky-dory for her. Maybe not in regards to the character of Lotta, who is super pissed at Mio, blaming her for being responsible for pretty much all of this. Pretty much a lot of turmoil is going on in the latest episode of The Witch from Mercury. So it looks like we are getting to build up to the big finale of the series, which is surprising, as I always felt that there was a lot of room for more development, maybe even the possibility of another season of the show. But it really does seem like we are building up to the endgame here, as this episode makes it very clear that Prospera is moving forward with her plan, and she is going to do it in the most over-the-top, flashy, and violent way possible. That's right, Quiet Zero is officially activated in this episode, and it's just as devastating as you could possibly imagine. I didn't expect that Quiet Zero is actually going to take the form of what is basically a massive space station, basically a giant pillar which changes from red to blue lights, but basically it's there to house all of their technology as well as the aerial Gundam itself, which immediately is able to take control of all of these various Gundam bits, which they utilize with this massive shield-like weapon which surrounds everything, basically taking control of all the permet energy and creating a massive data storm, basically allowing both Prospera and Ariel to pretty much control everything in this space. And the Space Assembly League tries to go and stop them. It does not work out. To put it bluntly, the Space Assembly League gets completely wrecked by Quiet Zero, and it's a great display of its overall raw power, which ultimately is terrifying, especially because at first it's all flashy with all the lights and the cool Gundam bits coming out and just wrecking all of the Space Assembly League's mobile suits, but then when it's all done, it's eerily quiet. The only thing left is the blackness of space and the destruction and ripped apart shreds of all of these mobile suits. Prospera is going forward with her plan, and she utilized everyone to make it happen. She truly is one of the best villains that I've seen from the franchise in quite some time, and certainly earns that moniker of being another classic Char clone. And this does not bode well for Mio, the newly elected president of Bennett Group, mostly by default because, you know, Shadid kind of went insane and started his very own coup d'etat. But basically, she keeps on diving down that deep depression well, and it doesn't seem like she's going to get out anytime soon, especially when she learns that the Space Assembly League is going to be coming for them as well. She almost receives a little bit of help from Sarius, Shadik's father, who says he's going to try and pin all of the blame on him, but this is something that Mio does not want to go through with. Basically, it's just a total shitstorm with the Space Assembly League going after the Bennett Group, and Prospera taking advantage of both groups by activating Quiet Zero. Basically, we're building up to the true finale of the series, and it looks like the final villain is going to be Prospera herself, and she's going to have to be stopped. And that's probably going to come in the form of Suletta and her friends, as a good chunk of this episode does focus on them and the aftermath of everything that happened at that big attack at Astakazia's school, with Suletta doing the best thing possible, which is helping out her fellow students by passing out food and trying to give them some sense of hope. Basically doing everything that she possibly can to keep everyone together. I really do love the interactions she has with a lot of her fellow students, and especially with the character of Cecilia, who at first, like I said, was just the ultimate mega cunt, and slowly but surely has transformed into a pretty interesting and likable character. I hope they can do something a little bit more with her as we move forward to the finale, but the big intrigue of this episode certainly comes from the return of the character of Belmoria, as well as Fang's assistant, who decides to meet with Suletta and basically give her an ultimatum. They basically have two plans. The first one is the peaceful option. They want Suletta to talk to her mother and try to tell her that everything she's doing is pretty fucking insane. Of course, Suletta knows that this is probably not an option, as her mother doesn't even really see her as her true daughter. She only seems to care about Eric and creating a future for her through the possibilities of Quiet Zero. So that leads us to our next option, which is to pilot some sort of brand new Gundam, which goes by the name of the Caliban Gundam, and that's going to give them something of a fighting chance. The problem is, this Gundam has no filter when it comes to the powers of data storms and permit limits, so this could potentially kill Suletta in the process, something that seems to freak out everyone, but she seems to be okay with this plan, knowing that it's the only option left. Another surprise is that Alon 5 actually manages to return in this episode. It seems like he actually escaped in the previous one, but no, it looks like he's back, and it seems like he's going to rectify all the crappy things that he did in the past, as well as giving Suletta a little more insight into the Alon that she actually knew all that long time ago back in Season 1. So I really love the turnaround on his character, and I can't wait to see what sort of mobile suit that he's going to end up piloting. It also looks like all of Suletta's friends are actually going to be joining her in this big final confrontation as well. They might as well all be holding death flags at this point, and I fear for all of their lives, to be perfectly honest. Especially for the character of Nika. She's another character who had a really great moment in this episode, especially with Martin. Martin basically pours his guts out yet again, saying that, look, I didn't want to hurt you, it's just, it was the only thing I could do to, help my friends. I had to confess, I had to tell people what was going on. He didn't personally want to attack her, and he really didn't have any sort of ill will towards her. But Nika accepts this in kind, and even goes as far as saying that this is not the end of her schooling career. She's going to fess up for everything that she's done, she's going to make amends, and then she's going to try and do things her very own way, make it on her very own steam. Again, really great development for that character. And that just leads to so many other questions, like what's the deal with that whole Schwarzette Gundam in the first place? The implication originally, I thought, was that Suletta was going to end up piloting it, but this episode almost made it seem like there's the possibility that maybe Lotta is going to try and take control of this and get revenge for his brother and his father. And then of course you have the introduction of this brand new mystery Gundam, the Caliban, which is briefly shown in shadow in this episode, and I don't know what to take from it, but I cannot wait to see it. I will say that I do think it's really interesting that the main Gundam of the series, Gundam Ariel, has effectively transformed into the main antagonist of the series, being basically the gas that's going to drive Quiet Zero. And I know it's going to lead to one hell of a confrontation when Suletta has to confront both her mother and her sister in this big final battle of the series. It truly seems like they are going to try and wrap up everything here in Season 2, and it does feel like things are going to actually work in the end. I just still feel there's so much untapped potential for what this series could do, and I don't know if that's going to end up hurting the finale at all, but we're just going to have to wait and see how it actually plays out. That being said, this episode was certainly awesome. I especially loved the Quiet Zero sequence. It was absolutely terrifying, especially seeing how the Space Assembly League's mobile suits were basically rendered useless. When they couldn't do anything, they were basically fish in a barrel, allowing Ariel to take them all out in extreme fashion. Like I said, there was something very haunting about that scene of it being so bombastic and crazy, and then suddenly just so quiet, only to hard cut to Prospera and her creepy ass smile. I gotta say yet again that Prospera is indeed one of the best antagonists of the entire Gundam franchise at this point. The way that they built her up from the prologue episode to where she is now, it's quite a transformation, and I can't wait to see how it's all going to play out. Basically, I really liked this episode, and I'd love to get your thoughts about it. If any of you guys did watch it, please tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below, and especially what's going to be going on with this brand new Caliban Gundam. I mean, what's the deal with that in the first place? Do you have any predictions for what the finale of the series is going to bring? And would you like to see more G-Witch in the future? Is there potential for Season 3? Even though it seems like we're building up to a finale, could there be more in the future? Let's talk about that and all of the big developments in this episode in the comments section below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll see you all next time. And as always, stay down there, baby.